You've heard him sit behind the golden EIB microphone. Filling in for Rush Limbaugh before, host of the Erick Erickson Show, Erick Erickson. Hey, Eric, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for coming on today. Really appreciate it. You were in Iowa last week. I know you were in Iowa for the debate. Just kind of sum up for our audience what you took away from that experience being in Iowa and talking with voters and just seeing the process play out there.
You know, it really is an interesting dynamic, the Iowa caucus, because it is such more participatory than a primary. You know, in most states, Texas, Georgia, where I am, you can show up throughout the day to your local polling place. You can check the box and leave. Not in Iowa tonight. They've got to show up at 7 p.m. Central Time. They've got to sit in a room for more than an hour. They've got to hear pitches from candidates. They got to hear party information, Republican or Democrat. Then they have to cast their ballots. The Republicans do it by closed ballot. The Democrats do it by open ballot. They either raise their hands or they divide the room, and peer pressure comes into play in either case as to who they're going to support. Really retail politics, grassroots politics, which is why you got to have a really strong ground game in Iowa. Ted Cruz has an extremely strong ground game in Iowa, which is why his campaign remains confident he's going to pull it out there. We'll see tonight what happens, but, I mean, we should know by probably 9 or 10 o'clock Central Time the way things are shaping up.
Visiting with Erick Erickson of the Erick Erickson Show, also founder of theresurgent.com, great new website out there. Eric, last week you wrote a piece about Marco Mentum, and there has been this buzz in Iowa that Marco Rubio is rising in Iowa as maybe the second choice for a lot of people, or now as the first choice for a lot of people. What do you think will happen with the Rubio campaign tonight?
I think he's probably going to surprise people. I don't think he's going to be able to come into first place just because he doesn't have as sizable a ground game in Iowa as Ted Cruz. He may be able to come into second ahead of Donald Trump. The Rubio campaign seems to think he might be able to. There are two things going on here. One, even if Rubio comes in third place, there are so many establishment Republicans who dislike Ted Cruz that they would herald a third place Rubio spot as a victory for Marco Rubio and try to build momentum for him into New Hampshire and South Carolina. All Rubio has to do is have a good third place showing, and Republicans are going to want him to have won, whether he does or not. But if he were to come in second place today, it would be a huge, huge thing, neutralizing Trump to some degree and really turning this into a Rubio versus Cruz race.
If Marco Rubio comes in second place behind Ted Cruz, and Donald Trump is in third place, how unhinged does Donald Trump become?
We would have another Dean scream like Howard Dean in 2004. It would be amazing to watch. Now, I don't necessarily think it'll be happening. I'm one of the few willing to entertain the thought that it could. But if it did, it would be something. I got to tell you, though, being in Iowa for the past week, he doesn't have a ground game. I've talked to all the campaigns out there for the most part, and they all tell me the same story, that they see each other on the campaign trail, that when they go knocking on doors, sometimes they're arriving as another campaign staff are leaving the front door. They encounter Trump voters who slam the door in their faces. The one thing none of them see, though, is Donald Trump volunteers or paid staff on the ground. They are the jackalope of American politics in Iowa.
Well, and this normally doesn't play well in Iowa. I mean, it's all about retail politics. I mean, you just look at the history of the Iowa caucus. You've got to be on the ground, and the candidate has to be there, and you've got to have precinct captains lined up and going for you. I mean, it takes a lot of work in Iowa in order to finish in the top three, and Donald Trump hasn't done that. He's sort of done the big rally type of speeches. He hasn't gone and met inside people's homes. So do you think Trump can pull this off?
I think Trump can pull this off, but I am less confident having been in Iowa than I was beforehand about him pulling it off, because it is the force of personality issue. These people show up to Trump's rallies. Can they show up when he's not there? It's kind of like Barack Obama to a degree. I mean, people showed up for Barack Obama being on the ballot in 2008 and 2012, but he couldn't use the force of his personality to get people to show up in 2010 and 2014 to help the party overall. I don't know that Donald Trump's force of personality can get people, particularly new voters who've never voted before, to show up to a caucus and spend more than an hour tonight. Remember, the caucus location isn't the primary location. Like you and I know, hey, this is where we go for our precinct to vote every year. The caucus location is different. Is a new voter going to be able to figure that out because the Trump campaign hasn't given them the information in Iowa, and then show up, be prepared to stay for an hour and a half with a blizzard coming?
Very interesting. Visiting with Erick Erickson. WSB is his home in Atlanta, and also the Resurgent.com. One more question over Iowa, and it leads into New Hampshire. How do you think tonight's results will play into the mad dash into New Hampshire?
Oh, I think that whoever wins Iowa is going to be different from whoever wins New Hampshire, but whoever wins Iowa we're going to see their surge headed into New Hampshire. So Donald Trump may very well win New Hampshire because it is a primary, not a caucus, but if he doesn't win Iowa, that's going to slow him down. The God King will bleed, and his true believers may wonder if he really is all that, and they may go elsewhere. I think the setup right now, the Republican talking point is the establishment hopes that Rubio has a strong third-place showing, and that helps him rebound over Kasich, Trump, and Cruz in New Hampshire headed into South Carolina.
Very interesting. Eric, tell folks about your website, theresurgent.com.
I was at redstate.com for 11 years, and I finally wanted to go out and own my own website, control all the pixels, and with a radio show in Atlanta, it's just one of those things that I wanted to have my own landing page, so I started The Resurgent for conservatives and Christians in politics, and tried to give them a safe landing place on the Internet to find out what's going on and get them organized and activated around the country as activists.
Well, and one of my favorite things, you've done a great job with it so far, enjoying all the articles on it, but no automatic videos.
Yes, no automatic videos.
I love that.
There are only 2 ads on the entire site. We've done sponsorships, so a group will sponsor the site for a week. They get an ad on the front page and one in each post. They're static images, no autoplay videos allowed.
Yeah, I love that. No pop-up. I mean, you go to some websites out there, and I don't want to name any, but you go to some and you're hit all over the place with the full screen pop-up ads and the automatic videos. It's annoying. But that's the Resurgent.com. Great website, Eric. And I want to have you back on soon to talk about your new book that's coming out as well. I mean, you're on fire right now.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a wild, crazy ride lately.
Eric, we'll talk with you later on. Appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you.
Be sure to follow Eric on Twitter at EW Erickson as well. Eric, as always, thank you. Good luck out there. We'll visit with you down the road.
Thanks very much.
That's Erick Erickson, host of the Erick Erickson Show. Visit theresurgent.com as well.